Arsenal got a much needed positive result against Nottingham Forest to firmly put themselves back in a good spot with games coming up. Now, the one player that caught everyone's eye was Nwaneri coming on and scoring his first Premier League goal, which has definitely been coming, and almost confirming the fact he will be a major part of the team in the coming months. But let's analyse this cameo and why he is just so good. Let's get into it. Now, first of all, it's great to finally talk about some positive news with Arsenal. I think the performance against Nottingham Forest was brilliant all around, and so many players played really well to hopefully continue this form into the future. Now, Nwaneri, I think, is a player that divides opinion not on his ability but how much he should be playing. Now, it's understandable a lot of people were very frustrated by the amount of times that he actually played, given only a select minutes in a few games when Odegaard was injured and wasn't playing. While I was definitely frustrated by the amount of minutes he got, and I think in the cup games against Preston and Bolton he proved he is definitely good enough, and some of the brilliant cameos he had against Leicester and even Inter Milan, I still think there's a lot of minutes for him to be played, especially with the fact that Arsenal will be playing a game every 3 to 4 days in the next month and a half, and he has been told that he will get more game time. Now, the rumours are right now that Nwaneri is in talks to sign a new deal with Arsenal, with Arteta even speaking to him saying he will be played more, so that is definitely some confidence there. And although I think in some games he has struggled, 90% of the time when he has come on, when he has played for Arsenal, he has done the job, and he looks better than a lot of the other players that come on around him, even experienced English internationals such as Raheem Sterling and Trossard over the last few months. Now, in this game it was the same again. Arsenal were 2-0 up when he came on around in the 82nd minute, coming on for obviously the captain Martin Odegaard, who also had a brilliant game. And it's one of them moments where a lot of players come on to kind of see out of the game. A lot of attackers will come on, just hold on to the ball and pass the ball around to give Arsenal that 2-0 win and that clean sheet getting over the edge. Now, Nwaneri is young, and you know he always wants to impress for the team and always wants to show people what he wants. And there is so many different parts of his game that I don't think get recognised as much as obviously some of his goal scoring talents. And straight away he came on and showed that. He came on and worked with Sterling down that right hand side. I think they both play a lot better off each other than Sterling has on that right hand side without him. It almost is like a mini Odegaard and Saka partnership out there. They both press the players together down the right hand side. Nwaneri always works hard off the ball, which is a major component, and straight away he won the ball back with him and Sterling doing great work and getting Arsenal forward. And Nwaneri loves these half spaces. This is exactly what Odegaard likes, which we will go into in another video, but he is the same with Nwaneri. He loves pulling players away and getting into them little spaces in between midfields and defences. And when he gets into these positions, you can tell that he wants to actually attack. There's a lot of times where he's almost deciding what he's going to do in real time, and because he has so many good close control or little touches, it gives him that ability to shift the ball left or right and actually kind of adapt to what's going on. This makes him very hard to read and makes him quite good to play off of, same with Odegaard. And like I've said before, his decision making is really key. There is sometimes where maybe there's a through ball, but he looks at the game state, we're 2-0 up with the 82nd minute, is it worth forcing something right now? And he realises it is not. So in the end he just passes it off, but he never leaves someone out with the ball and always will go and help them and shift into great positions, and he always will be very open to switching the ball to the left side if he can. Now, definitely the best part of him, and I think this is why he hasn't started too many games, is because he works against tired defences. He works into them positions when he comes wide on that right hand side. He comes a lot more wide, and what Nwaneri does is he actually starts into the wide area. We saw this against Leicester where he came inside, and then he just drives with the ball into that half space. Now, he can pick the ball up in the half space, which we see in a bit. He likes coming out wide. He likes having that sort of angle to run inwards, and this does make him very hard to mark, especially when he loves being between the lines like we've said. And yet again, when he came on, he did the normal thing that he's been trying. Against Leicester, we saw it where he came in, he cut inside and had that shot from distance, which was a good save. And in this game, it's not as stressful. We're 2-0 up. We're probably going to win the game at this stage. It's just keeping the ball and making sure we don't make unnecessary risks. But he still wants to try and have them chances to score. He runs at the defender. He's super confident, does a brilliant step over to get past him and tries to curl his effort, which we all know is the Nwaneri finish. We've seen it a few times now where he cuts inside and can curl that ball in, and that's where he usually loves shooting the ball from. Now, I am never going to discredit anyone that does this. He's a 17-year-old, he's coming on, wants to impress, and the fact he is going against good defenders in the Premier League like Murillo and just easily taking them on and going past them and having that confidence to take a shot is very impressive. When teenagers come into football, that you barely ever see much confidence like this. Even top players now didn't have this sort of confidence inside such a high level, because the risk of losing the ball could be detrimental for them and they could be quite upset with the things that could happen. However, Nwaneri just doesn't feel this apparently, and I do think that's what makes him different to a lot of other talents. It's the same with Saka when he was young, where he would just come in, he wouldn't be afraid to shoot from wide, he wouldn't be afraid to create, wouldn't be afraid to take the mantle of the team, which he has carried on to be our best player. And I see that with Nwaneri at such a young age, which I think is a brilliant thing. And let's talk about the goal then. Now, the goal actually comes from quite an interesting situation where he cuts in from deep and he actually takes the ball up from deep in that central area. This is where Sterling hasn't actually occupied that wide stretch, and it's another thing that you'll see Nwaneri and Sterling work off each other. They'll both come short or they'll both go to the width with each other, which is quite interesting. But straight away, Nwaneri picks the ball up on the half turn, which is something a lot of our players can't do and we've needed, and he wants to make that through ball actually down to the left hand side when Marino's making a run. Now, unfortunately, the referee gets in the way, which is not Nwaneri's fault, but the referee does let Arsenal take the free kick quickly with Partey, which puts Nwaneri in a lot of space in that central area, right half space, where he can just run into. And I do think he is developing a connection with Sterling. I think we saw it in the game against Preston, where this pass by Nwaneri to Sterling is so wide coded that it is asking for him to pass it back into it, and Sterling understands that. He holds the ball up really well and does a brilliant pass backwards, which literally allows Nwaneri just to run onto it with all of his power and get there before the defender, where he doesn't even need to think about the shot at the end of the day. It's all just about conviction and power at that moment. And of course, it ends up being a brilliant finish. He's a lot of power on it, like he has with a lot of finishes, and smashes it near post where Sells can't save it. And it's a really good 1-2 with Sterling, which the move starts from, but he starts and creates everything. He's so unselfish with some of his plays, but he also is not afraid to shoot. We saw it with the chance earlier. It's something that I think Arsenal players have been missing quite a lot, other than particularly Saka, who does it. Nwaneri loves cutting in and shooting in that area. And after that, you could tell the confidence that he had was just there. He was picking the ball up in them spaces. They were trying to track him, but he's just coming across into that midfield and passing it out to people like Zinchenko, who can then run forward. And it's something he does so well. He just makes the team a lot more balanced because he is not afraid to go down either side. Sometimes I think some of our players have a bias to their side, which makes complete sense, but Nwaneri is not like that. He prefers just getting the ball out and makes the most sense, doesn't matter what way. And it is quite clear that he has such a good technical ability that the team are trying to coach him with, because he also took a corner late on as well. And the corner was a typical Bukayo Saka corner you would see on that side, where it goes straight to Gabriel back post, who is literally free and ends up messing up the shot in the end. However, if he can also lock down a brilliant ability at taking corners as well, he's going to be even more of an asset than we actually thought from set pieces. And that left foot of his is just incredible. And I do think he is such a mix between Odegaard, between Saka, but also his own player being so good on the half turn and running forward. I'm so happy that he got his goal finally in the Premier League. Now, looking at his stats, I know it might seem a bit weird because he only played around 10 minutes of the game overall, but I still think in that 10 minutes he shows his impact. 11 out of 11 accurate passes, but more importantly, one successful dribble out of one pass into the final third, one cross, one long ball, one shot out of 2 that was on target, 2 touches in the opposition box. This is a lot to be doing. I know later on in the game you can say people are tired, but it is still a lot in the selected minutes that he got. And he is such a fighter as well, and he's so intelligent, which just makes him the whole package right now. I don't think I've seen many talents come through Hell Ends that are this exciting at the age of 17 than Nwaneri, and I can see why the club take a shine to him. And I know we've all been a bit critical of Arteta with his usage of Nwaneri, but this is what he said after the game. I'm responsible to build a career for him. Today is another brick, then we have to add another layer of cement. If you do 5 bricks, it won't work. So you can see he definitely wants to continue with this path that he's on, but has a lot of belief in him. And I do think we had a right to be annoyed with Arteta. I understand why he did rest and didn't play Nwaneri all the time because he is so young. Hopefully it'll be okay now with Odegaard starting the majority of the games and Nwaneri being able to come in when Odegaard isn't fully there, which I think is the main reason he's there right now, and not to start out with Odegaard being out injured. So it's just a different situation, but hopefully we can learn and continue to grow. Thank you guys for watching. It is great to Arsenal to finally win. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.